and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about all things to do with machine embroidery, garment decoration and running a small business from home. In today's video we're going to be looking at how to embroider on blankets, more specifically this blanket. I am embroidering on a baby blanket for a friend. It's the first time I've embroidered on a material like this, so we are going to learn together today. The machine I'm going to be embroidering this project on is my Happy Japan HCU 15 needle embroidery machine, but the things I'm going to talk about in this video apply to embroidering on all embroidery machines, even single needle hobbyist machines. There is nothing that frightens me more than making gifts for friends, because it always feels like you've got one shot, one opportunity to get things right. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do attach this blanket is the project that I want to sew onto the blanket. I'm going to sew out as a sample first on some scrap material. Ideally, you want to be using the same material or a similar material that the final project is going to be embroidered on. Unfortunately, I only have this quite a unique blanket. It's got a lot of stretching and it's knitted, and I couldn't find anything in my wardrobe or in my scraps box that is similar to this material. So, like most of my projects, I have sewn it out on acrylic craft felt. But don't be like me. If you can, sew it out on a sample of the material that your final project is going to be sewn onto. The reason for this is if you use the same material, you are going to find out whether or not your design has any quirks that make it unsuitable to be sewn onto that material. Fortunately for me, this design stitched out okay. However, I was a little bit dubious of it because the image the seller used to advertise the design was AI, and I did have to redigitize parts of it. But once I'd sewn out my sample, it was time to prepare my material. And to do this, I just ironed out the fabric, paying particular attention to the part where I was going to embroider my design onto, to make sure there were no creases in the material that could potentially bend or distort my embroidery. For this project, because I only have the one blanket, I am taking absolutely no chances. And for that reason, I am using 2 layers of a medium weight cutaway stabilizer, as cutaway stabilizer provides the best stabilization for projects like this, especially when you're embroidering on a material that has a bit of stretch in it. The good thing about stitching out a sample first as well is you can place it as like a dry run on your project to see where the embroidery will sit, if it'll fit, if any changes need to be made. So I am planning on embroidering on this blanket. I'm going to put my design in the corner. I'm going to have the fairy sitting in the corner like so, and then I'm going to have the baby name coming over the top like that in like a curve. A good thing about embroidering in a corner like this and having it on an angle is also that the you don't have to worry that everything is dead straight. It allows like some margin for error. And over the blanket, I'm going to be placing my water soluble stabilizer. Water soluble stabilizer is a topping that you can place over materials, on top of materials. It dissolves away with water. When it gets wet, the plastic will just disappear. And I use this water soluble stabilizer to stop my sewing stitches from sinking into materials. It works especially well with like thick pile materials such as toweling. But even though this blanket doesn't have a thick pile, like I said, I've only got the one, so I'm not taking any chances. Unfortunately, I didn't have one sheet of water-soluble stabilizer which was large enough to cover the whole of the blanket. So I have 3 individual pieces that I'm lying in an overlapping pattern, and I'm going to hoop them all together. And now I'm going to hoop up my garment. I'm going to do it in a way so that the majority of the material is hanging away from the embroidery machine. That should help to stop any jamming and things. I'm going to hoop my material. I've seen a couple of videos suggesting that the better way to embroider on a blanket is to float it. I don't do this with anything. I'm not a big fan of floating. I think we're given embroidery hoops for a reason, and that is to clamp the material between the two hoops. This way gives better stabilization and it reduces the risk of the material slipping around and creating registration errors. Now, I want my material to be taut within the hoop, but I'm not going to pull it at all, because you'll find that if you stretch the material within the hoop so that it's drum tight, when you take the material out of the hoop, the material will spring back into its original shape, and that is how you get puckering. Once I've uploaded the design onto my embroidery machine, I can make sure it is in the correct position on the blanket. And just to double check what I see on the screen matches how it'll appear in real life, I can use the crosshair laser on my Happy Japan embroidery machine to run a trace and ensure the design is going to be embroidered in the correct place. I've selected all my colours on the design. I have made sure that none of the blanket is tucked in between the hoop and the sewing arm and the needle. It's all free hanging, so nothing should be stitched together. So the only thing left to do now is press start and pray. To make this design shimmer, I used some iridescent metallic thread. This particular thread made a feature on the last YouTube video I did, which was how to embroider using metallic threads. And the reason why this thread has such a long tail, where I'm cutting it off now with the scissors to tidy up my embroidery design, I cover this in that previous video. Basically, I found that when making lots of little cuts, the metallic thread tends to jump out of the eye of the needle, and by increasing the length of the thread trim, that didn't tend to happen as much, which resulted in my machine stopping fewer times whenever it had to trim the thread. Now, I know I said I used water-soluble stabilizer as my topper to stop the stitches sinking into the material, and it is water-soluble. If I was to spray water on it, the topper would dissolve. But I decided not to do that with this particular embroidery design because I needed to give this blanket to the recipient quickly. Like, she was coming very, very close to her due date, and I didn't want to have to spend more time wetting the blanket and then waiting for it to dry. So I opted to just pull off the water-soluble stabilizer, almost like a tearaway. This is a little bit fiddly, but overall the process is much quicker than wetting the stabilizer and waiting for it to dry. And speaking of tearaway, you might recall that we did not use tearaway stabilizer as our backing material this time. I'm a big fan of tearaway, but there is a time and a place for it, and this was not one of those times. So I used cutaway for this design as I thought it would give it the best stability. And now I've had to use a scissors to cut away the excess stabilizer. If I had one, I think I'd use a pinking scissors to cut around the stabilizer, because that gives those lovely kind of triangle edges, which in my opinion look more professional. Fortunately, the back of this design is going to be covered up. I'll go a little bit more into that next. But I didn't want to keep the bulky stabilizer on the back of this blanket, so I've trimmed away as much of it as I can without cutting into the design. Another reason why I hate cutaway stabilizer is because I'm always terrified of cutting the material underneath. So where I can, I always make sure I am looking at the material when I'm cutting, so there's no chance of nicking it with the scissors and creating a hole. And the last step in this project was to cover the back of the design to protect the baby's skin from any rough parts of the embroidery. Even though you can iron the underside of embroidery and that does make it quite soft, I still didn't want to take any chances, and so I am covering the whole of the design with this fusible soft mesh, which I bought from the Madeira shop. I lie the mesh over the design and then cut out a piece that is larger than the design itself to ensure that all edges are hidden. The mesh is fusible, so after I cut it to the right size, I turn on my iron following the instructions that come with the material, and then I cover the mesh with a thin cloth. In this case, I'm using one of my baby's muslin cloths. I do this to protect the fusible mesh and the embroidery, and it's a good thing I did this because I actually scorched my baby's muslin cloth. Sorry about that, George. I'll get you another one. Anyway, this is how the final product came out. For something that was an AI generated design, I do actually think it stitched out very well. I did have to redigitize some parts, but on the whole, I'm very happy with this, and I hope the receiver will be very happy with it too. And that is how I embroidered this blanket. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you'd like to see more of my content, then please consider subscribing to my channel, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye bye.